And welcome to the Tile Happy Hour. It is that time of the day, the time where you love to learn about tile. You love to learn about the things that are going on in the tile and stone industry. And it is here. It is this conversation here that you've been waiting for. And I want to introduce myself. My name is Craig. If you don't know me, I was a tile contractor for many years, and my co-host, John Tedesco, was not. John, how are you?
I am doing really well, Craig. Happy spring to you.
It's coming. I tell you, I don't know if the weather has been crazy. I know we're not here to talk about the weather, and I don't know. I don't think it happened in your area, but I woke up the other morning and all of our cars were covered with what I thought was pollen.
Right.
And I was like, this is the weird. Can pollen, down south where I'm from, pine pollen is yellow. It's like everything is yellow. But this was brown, and I was like, what happened to the trees? I'm thinking of the apocalyptic movies and all this other stuff.
Right.
And then I saw on the news there was a dust storm out west that got sucked up into the atmosphere, into the stream, and flew over. And when it got over our area, it grabbed water and fell, and it was dust on our cars from west. So,
wow.
Crazy.
I'm glad to hear it wasn't locusts.
Exactly. Like I was saying, apocalyptic type stuff. And I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but you mentioned spring, and that's what came to mind. Because I think we're still officially in winter, but it is starting to warm up.
We're on the break here. Daylight savings is welcome, so that's kind of that's my mental note about spring. Yeah,
that's a contentious point. I don't know if daylight savings is welcome.
Oh, that's another episode.
That's another off-topic episode.
Yes, exactly. Well, we're here to talk about tile. This is John Tedesco. I'm here with my co-host, Craig Cahoon, broadcasting from beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina. How do you say Raleigh? Raleigh. There's an emphasis on the syllable.
Raleigh. Yeah.
Raleigh.
And you're, John, on Long Island.
Yes. So anything I've taught Craig in my life is almost complete. You don't say you live in Long Island.
Nope, you're on Long Island.
You live on Long Island, or you're from Long Island.
Yeah, but this is the Tile Happy Hour. John and I have been doing tile for probably a combined 600 years, and not saying we know everything about tile, but we sure do know a lot about it. And number one, I want to thank everybody that reaches out to us, asks us questions. We get questions all the time from, does this tile look good in this bathroom, or what mortar do I need to go with this? Thank you. No matter where you're watching from, if it's on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, sometimes because it's weird, X, formerly Twitter. What am I leaving out?
I want to know when do we have to stop saying formerly Twitter? I've noticed on the news they're now starting to just say X. I mean, it's taken like a year or so.
A year? I think it's been longer than that. But yeah, I think but what's funny, I've noticed they stopped saying Twitter, but they still say tweet.
Yes.
They tweeted out on X.
Yes. And that was a moment in time that gave the media outlets the green light to say it's okay to say X, because then if they could say the word tweet in the same sentence, you'll understand what they're talking about.
You put the two together.
You put the two together. You can't say I X'd something out. Like, it just doesn't work. So, all right, here we are, still not talking about tile.
But before you get off that subject, and let's weave this in together. We've been invited to do our podcast again at Coverings, which is coming up May 29th through April 2nd, which my calendar's right there. And John, our topic is not necessarily about whether Twitter is X or X is Twitter, but it does have to do with social media.
Yeah, we're going to break the name of our podcast in a moment, right here live on these social streams here. So just a little history. This podcast at Coverings means a lot to Craig and I, because when we came up with the idea, when this podcast was just a twinkle in our eyes, we had said, we're going to do a podcast. And maybe next year, which was like 12 months away, maybe we'll get invited to the Coverings podcast. And in short order, when we put word out, they actually checked out our socials that we were already doing for, our own day-to-day activities. And they immediately invited us to participate in that year. So we had a scramble. So we kind of launched our podcast. That was pretty much almost a launching ground, really, right? I would think.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was our first actual broadcast was National Tile Day, which I think is February 23rd, 2 years ago. And we did that with the anticipation. Coverings was coming up. We had no idea that they'd invite us that quickly.
Right.
And I'm not sure if, the tile and stone industry is notorious for dragging behind in what is cool and hip. And podcasting has been cool and hip for a few years, but there was only a few podcasters. And when we threw our name in the ring, we were hoping for the following year, but they did invite us. And once again, we've been invited back. And last year we had a great studio audience in the podcast studio. And if you're going to coverings this year, please mark down the 30th of April at noon in the South Hall. That's where John and I will be. We will be doing our podcast live there. And our podcast, once again, we had great feedback last year. It's about the tile and stone industry and putting that together with social media. Our tips and tricks, we could have some special guests that we're going to kind of hold that over your head for a little while, but we want to see you there. And it will air later on. We may do it live. We haven't figured that out yet. That all depends on the technology that Coverings has available for us, and we haven't confirmed that yet. But even if we don't do it live, if you're there, you can see us live. And if you're not there, it'll be broadcast a little bit later.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm now just thinking back to why they invited us initially. And I'm thinking in our negotiations back and forth when we agreed to do it for no pay. I think that was it. That was one of the that brought us over the finish line.
We did meet their budget.
Yes, exactly.
I think, but
and we had some technical issues, when we got there because there was a lot of technical issues.
Well, we were newbies. I mean, this is not about how to podcast, and by no means are we the Joe Rogans of the tile and stone industry, because we're not. But this was our first attempt at going out and doing it. I had so much gear with me, and it still didn't work great. The internet it was.
Some of it was on them too. Some they didn't have the best connections too.
We were trying to do it, broadcast a several gigabyte file over Wi-Fi, which if you know anything about that was difficult. But regardless, the last year they had we were hardwired in, and we were able to broadcast live, and we'll do that again this year if the hardwire is there. And we're just excited. Coverings has always been kind of, in my mind, it's like a reset for the year for the tile and stone industry.
Yeah. Well, first quarter is pretty much coming to a wrap. The tile industry, as many businesses, are going to be in full swing, right? You get the new year started. You get your new goals, your new KPIs. You get kind of a flavor of what's going on in the economy, and you start looking at how's the rest of the year going, and you got to crank out. So this is you got to do it now. You say you're setting the table first quarter, and then you got to just roll after that. And the covering show is a really, really big event. It's coming off of the Tresai show and the Chevy Sama show, which are the two European shows, the Spanish show in Spain and the Italian show, guess where? In Italy. And it's really
in Italy.
It's really cool because Coverings is kind of I look at it as the culmination of those two shows, because those two shows in Europe are at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And what happens is they get all the feedback from mostly Europeans. Americans do go to the to those shows, but Coverings comes around, and it's now the U.S. market, interesting. So this year, there's a charge to attend Coverings. There's ways.
I was getting ready to ask you that. I was like, it used to, and I almost said that live on the air. It used to be free, and I guess it's not anymore.
Well, as you know, if I've never mentioned it to you, I've been to every covering since it started.
You
And
mentioned that
yes,
often.
and this is the first year that they have a fee. I don't believe the fee is intended to generate a incredible amount of revenue. I think it's multifaceted. One is to create a sense of value, and it does have a lot of value, and it's worth paying $100 to go. But
Yeah.
there's an advance fee for a very little amount, as you see
Yeah.
there, and there was a time where it was free up to a few months ago. But then I saw they extended it, and they may even have promo codes. Maybe they'll give us a promo code to do something free.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I understand it. I remember back when I was in theater, a company that I was with, we used to do a free show at Easter every year. And the problem was everybody would sign up and you'd have a theater full of 1,100 people, tickets sold. But because they didn't pay anything for it,
There's no commitment.
There was no commitment, and you may have 75%. So I do understand, because of dealing with that in the theater industry, paying something means you probably are going to get a more accurate anticipation of who's actually going to be there.
I
this
love
is a
I think
huge
it's
show.
good. Yeah, I think. Well, look, even if it is to generate revenue, there's nobody who is going to go to the show that's going to balk at $25 or $99 if
Agreed.
you're literally going to go to the show, because 90% of the people are coming from out of state, out of the country, all over. So your travel costs, your hotel, your food, all that stuff, airfare is so much more than $100 or $99 or $24.50 or whatever it is. So yeah, maybe they'll generate X amount of revenue and keep the show neat and clean and keep the riffraff out.
Yeah, yep. And this episode is not about coverings, even though we're very thankful for their partnership. But here's the podcast studio. A lot of different podcasters going to be there. For some reason, I can't move that. And the Tile Happy Hour. Look at that right there.
This is cool. Yeah. You know what? This episode is really about coverings, I think.
well, we can transition now, but we do want to promote it, and we do want you to sign up. Obviously, you can register here, register now, be a part of coverings. Come say hello to us. If you come, John, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you come and get a picture with us, show us that you've signed up on our Instagram, maybe we can give you a free gift. John, can you make that happen?
We can make it happen. We got free tile hot plates. So
free tile hot plates. But yeah. So come see us at coverings and sit and listen to our. Do you want to tell the title, or do you want me to tell the title?
Yeah, let's break the title now. So it's going to be noon on April 30th at the South Hall. Get there at 11:45 in the morning. That's the prime. That's like the prime spot of the show, right? That's like the show's kicking off.
Yeah, bring your lunch, eat lunch with us while you listen to John and I and the Tile Happy Hour talk about Tile, your social game.
Yes. Announced here. Tile, your social game. Tile, your social game.
I tried to put a comma, but John says no comma.
No comma. No comma. Tile, your social game. Not like tile, your social game. They both work.
I think they both work. Mine's more Jason Bourne. Yours is more Hemingway. I don't know.
Tile your social game, folks. That's what you got to do. It's a verb. It's action. It's more action. It's more action going.
And yes. And so we'll John. Let's do a full coverings podcast.
Yeah,
maybe our next podcast. And let's kind of we'll talk about the topic. We'll tease the topic. We won't give it all away, but. How's that sound?
Yeah, I love it. So we're here to talk about tile, and today's topic, since you're breaking topics, is what, Craig?
Today's topics is I wrote it here. The art of Tunisian tile, which I don't even know where Tunisia is. I had to download some facts on Tunisia, but John, I want you give me your idea of what Tunisian tile is.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's ancient origins, right, to Tunisian tile. I mean, the art of ceramics, it dates back to like the Phoenicians and the Carthaginians that, they developed I guess pottery, back then.
Yeah.
And
Probably in ancient Carthage, which was founded in 814 BC.
wow, you're pretty smart. Thank you, AI.
Hey, no, that's right up here.
All right, good. All right, I love it. But then there's definitely like a Roman influence,
Right.
of definitely more intricate tile designs, things like that. And really big influence is the Islamic era, with the advent of Islam and Tunisian.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Tunisian stuff really, really evolved, and they incorporated, and this is where they incorporated vibrant colors,
Right.
and intricate tile patterns, things like that. And then here's my favorite word, the Andalusian impact. That was like 17th century, I guess. And there was a big impact there. So what's cool about it is that, we're here in the tile world talking about something that has its origins that far back.
Yeah.
And even like in Galilean times, and or more like there's something Kalilian, I forget what it's called. But anyway, I don't see anybody in the carpet industry who can tell us, that, things went back that far in their world.
Yeah.
Or some of these other products, vinyl tile, right? No, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, I don't think vinyl tile goes back that far. But if you were to describe a Tunisian tile without us showing it, we've got some eye candy to show you in a minute.
Right.
But if you were to describe it to somebody, what would be your description?
It would be very artistic, handmade, and don't take this wrong, crude. And
Okay.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way.
You mean that like maybe an artistic type?
No, like it's not a polished, sharp product.
Manufactured?
Manufactured wise, it's not like it's something that the handcrafted nature of it is really the main key part of it. Is the handcrafted nature of it, the colors, the finish, the texture, the irregularities to it are all normal. Nowadays, if you have a tile like a nano glass white, which is like super shiny white, clean, straight cut, like glass, putting it in the Hamptons, love it. But if you want something that has character, that has interest, that tells a story, that gives you the ability to tell a story with tile, it's kind of like painting. And that's the type of art.
Would you equate, and I know they're maybe from different areas, that a Tunisian tile is similar to a terracotta tile, just maybe because of the raw materials, because of where they're made historically?
I could speak to the technical characteristics of the product. A terracotta is very similar to a Tunisian tile. It's a red clay, not necessarily high fired.
Right.
It's not fast fired, at 2000 degrees, like, porcelain tile is. So I think that's where the similarities are, but I think that's where it diverges, because terracotta has barely evolved outside of this like red clay looking stuff or porcelain that looks like terracotta. But there is something about Tunisian tile that is super indicative of Tunisian tile, and it's the geometric patterns. Geometric patterns are it. When you see those patterns that are just so cool, and we're going to pull something up here. This is called Cantico. And what's cool about this, and I mentioned how other industries don't have the history that we have.
Yeah.
This product is the epitome of merging the old with the new, because this is not Tunisian tile, but it's a Tunisian tile look. But it's not like a photograph. It's actually mosaics like Tunisian, but we use cement and we use lava stone, which are kind of old world techniques in a way, but it's not Tunisian clay.
Gotcha.
What do you think of that stuff, Craig?
I love it. Well, it reminds me of, I'm a simple person. Indiana Jones, it's like Indiana Jones walks into a cafe in and this is what's on the floor.
Yeah, I gotta watch that movie again because maybe I missed that.
Well, I don't know that he did, but it just reminds me of that. It makes me feel like that's something that would happen.
It takes you
You know,
step back in time, right?
a
Yeah.
cafe. Yeah, yeah, a
Just
little step
really
back in time.
cool.
There's a lot of colors, but the colors are kind of muted. They're not like um,
It's
they're
tonal, right?
not
Here's a
bright and
blue and there's
vibrant.
different shades. Yeah. What out of those three in this collection, what would you put in
Uh
the
huh.
Craig Cahoon household? Let's say you're doing your beach house, right? You have a beach house, don't you?
Yes, I do. Please come
All
hang
right.
out with us. I think if I were doing my bathrooms of the beach house, I like this. I
That's
like.
cool.
I mean, frankly, I would put this in the common area, in the kitchen, maybe an outdoor ish space. I
You
think it
know
would be
why?
cozy.
I know why I think you like that for that area, even though it's not a beach, it's not a sand color, but it's kind of earthy tone where the blue is
Yeah,
nice but a
yeah,
little more manufactured, right? But this is kind of an earthy tone.
yeah,
The gray, I mean, that's more New York, right? That's my house.
yeah.
And
This reminds me of in any coffee shop on Long Island would have this on their floor.
exactly. And then the middle one, which is the blue, kind of universal.
The middle
Everyone
one was the blue. Yeah,
who wouldn't like the blue?
yeah.
Uh, it's called oceans, more gray, right, than blue. It's hard to
I
see
tell you, if
on
I
the
had a
screen.
restaurant, I'd do the girls' bathroom in the orangish color, and I'd do the boys' bathroom in this because,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm pretty simple.
Craig, from a technical standpoint, I know we're focusing on design for this episode, but just from a technical episode,
Sure.
do we need to know anything about some of this is lava stone, some of this is cement, mixing it together? Do you use the same thin set? Do you have to use special grout, special
Yeah.
cleaners? What's all about that?
Yeah. It needs special attention. This is not a porcelain tile. And that is one of the things that I get questions about on this material. Um, Number one, because it has that cement tile aspect to it. Cement tiles are naturally porous. So naturally porous materials are easily stainable. And so this material needs to be treated like a porous stone. You need as far as the mortars go, bonding it's pretty easy because once again, when you have a porous stone, things get into the porous stone. You can get a good mechanical bond, even with a low end mortar. Now,
Right.
but when it comes to finishing, grouting, you definitely want a grout release on this material. It will stain. I don't care what grout you use.
Right.
My favorite grout release, just to make a plug, and we don't even sell it, is Aquamix's grout release. It have found out of the grout releases on the market, the ones I've tested, this one works the best. I would use it. Maybe do a couple of coats of it, grout your product, and then clean it as quick as the manufacturers recommend. And then after it's clean, you may still have a little bit of staining just because of the nature of the material. You want to, any salesperson out there selling this, you want to make sure you set those expectations and then use a good sealer and a good cleaner. And I love the Latticrete combo of bulletproof and revitalizer. And really, other than that, and I just told you how to install it. Other than that, it can be a long-lasting, great installation, but you just got to those expectations, those porosity expectations. You got to meet those up front.
Right. And I'm going to guess, but 50% of the product is not cement. It's lava stone that's glazed.
Right.
So how do you just seal every other tile? How do you do that?
You just go for it. The key to sealers, because the lava stone is not as porous, you want to your installation needs to be based on the weakest link.
Good way to put it.
And so when you're sealing it, most sealers will tell you put it on, you let it sit, you wipe it off. And what that does is that just allows the sealer not to pile up. It absorbs in, and then the multiple coats that you do, you're wiping it off. And some may stay on the lava stone, some may not, but you definitely want to impregnate that cement tile with your sealer.
Right. So it's really not. I know you were just saying it that way, but it's not staying on the tile. It's really in the tile. This is opposite island. This is different. This is in the tile.
Right. Yeah. Most modern tile and stone sealers are not topical any longer. They're penetrating sealers. I would be hard pressed to find a topical sealer that is specific to tile anymore. Most of them are penetrating.
Right. So when you said you apply, I know, read the instructions when you're doing this, but you put it on, you let it sit. So let it sit 48 hours.
No, normally the first coat you do about 15 minutes.
Right.
You can a lot of times look at it and see, it's better to do multiple light coats than one or two heavy coats, because if you've never used it before, this is for the DIY audience. If you never used a sealer before, just be careful. It can, if you don't get the material off and there's a puddle of it on your tile, once that dries, it'll turn white and cloudy and not look good. You've not ruined anything. You can fix it.
You've complicated things.
You've complicated things. And this tile, as beautiful as it is, it can be complicated, and we want you to install it correctly so it looks as great as those pictures you saw on the Tile Bar website. And like we love the Tile Bar tile because that's where John and I met. And if you want to buy that tile, you can find it at tilebar.com.
Yeah, absolutely. I know this is not a technical episode, but the visual I like to give people about sealing something is picture a raw piece of wood, very light piece of wood, and you take a dark stain and you put it on, you pour it on or put it on a rag. You don't puddle it on. You don't pour it on and then wipe it off. You put a little on your sponge or your rag and you wipe it in, you let it sit a little, and whatever pores are open will take in the sealer.
Yep.
And then you take a rag, dry rag, and you wipe it off, and then maybe do it again or maybe a third time. So instead of puddling it on and letting it, whatever soaks in. And if you happen to wipe that sealer on the wood, and then you happen to have a piece of, say, steel next to it, and you wipe it on that, and then you wipe it off, nothing's going to soak into the steel because it doesn't have porosity, in general. So it's kind of like whatever there's pores, it will find those pores, soak in, go below the surface. And what you don't want, and Craig, what you said very specifically, you don't want it to let sit on the surface because then it dries and then it could create a haze, and you have to remove that. It's a penetrating sealer for that reason. So this product, not to scare you, we're just telling you, there's methods of installing the tile, just like wood. You have to stain it and maybe varnish it. This tile, you just need to seal it, and not 100% of the tile needs the sealer, but you apply it on the whole sheet, and then you wipe it off. Whatever comes up. Whatever stays in.
That's
and
right.
now it's protected. But it's a particular look. Now, there's other products that we carry, other tiles that are not lava stone. So we have another collection that's kind of Tunisian-esque, but not Tunisian-esque from the pattern perspective, but from the colors and the look. And there's a line of product that we call is Portmore, and Portmore is has that kind of Moroccan Tunisian look, and that whole handcrafted undulated surface. And so when you talk about a Moroccan look, it's this varied product, this color.
Right.
And when I think
we've had this is not a new product. We've had Portmore for a while, correct?
We've had Portmore for a while. It's not a legacy tile. I mean, there are products that with the product since I've been there 8 years ago. This is years old, 3, 4, I don't know, maybe. But interestingly enough, the color that you're featuring right now is a new color, because when we introduced this line, the warm tones really weren't as hot. Blues and whites, always popular, and grays were super popular. Now the terracotta colors, the browns, the warms have come back in full swing. The green is super popular because it's just very organic looking.
It's a pretty green. Yeah, the warm colors have been, man. A lot of the launches that I've been, yeah, I'm on the technical side. I don't pay attention. I pay attention, but I don't dig into it. But a lot of the launches I've seen lately it's a ton of warm colors.
It really has, and additions. Like, so here's an example. The taupe is an addition to the original, I think, 5 colors that we.
I don't even see the gray up. Well, there's the
there you
gray.
go. Yeah. I don't know the sales numbers. I bet you the gray is the least popular in this series. I think people who like this varied product are going for the blue. The white's probably the hottest because, white kind of trends. Even though this has a certain look to it, you can call it a Moroccan look. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a Moroccan look because, especially in a white, so this could be a little more transitional, and it just has a lot of range. But if you want to do a nice backsplash in a white tile, but you don't want to do, or a bathroom, you don't want to do a 3x6 white subway off the home center shelf,
right?
So it just creates character without going too crazy.
Yeah. Of course, I just redid my guest bathroom, and I used the Portmore. But what color did I get? The gray, because I am behind the times. I'm not trendy and I'm not cool.
No, it'll be back in like 12, 15 years. You'll be in style. You'll be
good. I won't. I don't know. I don't know if I'll still be in this house or not, but maybe. I don't know. Regardless, I love this tile for a couple of reasons. It is simple. It's got the simple sizes.
And Craig's a simple guy.
I'm a simple guy.
Straight across.
But yet it has some character. So it's, if I were branding this tile, which I'm not a brand person, I would call it simple with character.
Love it. And you know what? It probably looks really nice against the white fixtures, like a white toilet or a white tub.
Yeah. Well, I used black. So.
Oh, wow. That's chic. You get in New York there.
Yeah, I use. The tub is white. Let's not go crazy. The tub is white, but all of the fixtures in the bathroom are black, matte black.
Yeah, I was visualizing this against like a white tub. It makes it crisp and clean.
Yeah,
and
it does.
Nice.
It looks really
good. Well, See, I don't think you would have put a solid gray tile, just a gray tile. Like
no, yeah. That reminds me of like a dorm room, in a non-trendy college.
So one of the things about the tile industry that we love, especially in the design end of it, is you could be creative with your project, be it a backsplash, be it a bathroom, commercial space, restaurant, hotels. You could be really creative with the product, and the tile is such a great investment because it just lasts forever. It will last way longer than any other building material. There's really nothing else out there, unless you want to talk about granite, but that's kind of in the same category, stone and tile. Yeah. So natural stone, particularly granite, will last forever. And there's everyone's thrown out there olive green refrigerators because they died, but the color's come and gone like 7 times since 1963 when it came out. But tile, if you had an olive green bathroom, unless you had a plumbing issue unrelated to the tile, that tile would be in perfect shape, right?
That's right. Still going strong. We just renovated a church not too far from here, and they had the 1970s 4 1/4 with the mud cap and all of it, and nothing was wrong with it. But as I call it in the contracting industry, it uglied out. It uglied out. It never broke. But yeah, that's neat, John. And I love that you have that expertise to where you can tie in a region of the country and a design into a material that any homeowner, contractor, designer, developer can use to create a space that's not in Tunisia, but yet maybe has a Tunisian feel. And doing that with tile gives you a lot of different options. It gives you longevity. It gives you cleanability. So many pluses, but yet you still feel like you've done something. So a great topic. Great. Thanks for coming up with the art of Tunisian tile and how to how to get that. And if you have any questions for us, technically how to install it, let me know. Let me know what you bought, whether it's a tile bar product or not. It doesn't matter. I'll be glad to answer your questions. If you have design questions, you really want that Dookie Brown tile and to use with your pink bathtub, call John. He'll help you design it and pick you a grout color for that. Absolutely. I don't know, but we're here to serve you through your tile installation, whether that's on the front end or the back end. And God forbid you have any problems, we'll help you kind of figure that out too. And you can find us. Both of our Instagram handles are under our name. I'm at Tile Nerd Omri. John got really creative and just put his name. And feel free to reach out to us. We read all the comments. We answer all the comments. But a great conversation about Tunisia, the tile, and how that is in the industry.
Yeah, great. It's been really cool sharing that with you, talking with you about it, Craig. If anyone has any questions, please reach out. We'd love to help you. And when you do a product like this, you have to be really careful to not overdo it. So if you're putting, say, this tile on the wall, you maybe want a plainer tile on the floor. So you really need a designer or
that. John, I'm going to interrupt you because you said exactly what one of our designers in our studio told me the other day, because I'm in the process of designing my master bath. And I kept saying, I like this tile, I like this tile, I like this tile. And I wanted to use them all together because I liked them. And she said, hold up. Just because you like the tile doesn't mean they work together. And I think that's the first time, I'm a dumb contractor. I know how to install it, but what looks together, what looks good separately doesn't always look good together. So that was a great point. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah, look at it as spices. You may like different spices in the cupboard, but there's just some you just will never put together. So you need to think they need to complement each other. Well, this is the Tile Happy Hour. It's been getting spicy here, and we love to talk about Moroccan, Tunisian, old world tile made in new world ways that you can use in your current house that will look nice today and 10 years and 20 years from now, will last 100 years. You'll probably sell your house before you change your tile in many cases, right? And let the next person, enjoy it or rip it out, whatever, and then buy more product. So Tile Happy Hour every week. Craig and I, we just launched the name of our podcast happening at the Coverings in Orlando. Come see us there. We'd love to see you there live and register for the show. So this is John Tedisco, and I'd like to wish everybody peace, health, and happiness.
Yeah, and thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time and look forward to meeting you in person. Let's keep learning together and tile the world.